Restaurants are one of the hardest businesses to sell, and most owners don't find that out until they're already trying to sell one. I've sold restaurants. I've sat across the table from owners who built something they were genuinely proud of, a following, a reputation, a line out the door on Friday nights, and watched a buyer walk away after one look at the lease. Not the food, not the reviews, the lease. Billionaires don't gamble. They bet on sure things. That's the whole game when you're buying a restaurant. The buyer isn't asking, is this place good? They're asking, is this place safe? And most restaurants fail that test before the first showing even starts. Today, I want to show you the 3 things that quietly kill restaurant deals: the lease, the owner-operator trap, and seasonality, and what to do about each one before you list. I'm Carolyn Yuki. I help business owners get their businesses ready to sell for what they're actually worth before a buyer ever sees them. Restaurants are a specialty of mine, and I'll tell you why. They're emotional businesses that get bought with a very unemotional checklist. Owners fall in love with what they built. Buyers fall in love with what they can count on. Your job before you sell is to close that gap. Let's start with the lease, because it kills more restaurant deals than bad food ever could. Here's what a buyer is actually thinking when they read your lease. How many years are left? Can it be assigned to a new owner? Does rent jump at renewal? Is the landlord reasonable or a nightmare? A great restaurant with 3 years left on a lease and no renewal option isn't a great restaurant to a buyer. It's a 3-year countdown. I've watched a deal die in a single phone call because the landlord wouldn't confirm an assignment clause. Not because the numbers were bad, because the ground the business stood on wasn't guaranteed. If you're thinking about selling, call your landlord before you call a broker. Ask about assignability. Ask about renewal terms. Get it in writing. That one conversation can save your entire deal later. Second trap, you're the chef. If your name is on the menu and your hands are in every dish, you haven't built a restaurant. You've built a really demanding job. A buyer isn't paying for your talent. They're paying for a system that produces your talent's results without you standing over the line. Ask yourself honestly, if you took a 2-week vacation right now, would the food taste the same? Would service hold up? Would regulars notice you were gone? If the honest answer is yes, they'd notice. You have work to do before you list. The fix isn't complicated, even if it's uncomfortable. Train a kitchen manager who can run service without you. Write down your signature recipes with exact measurements, not a pinch of this. Put someone else in front of vendors and staff so the business has a face that isn't only yours. I've seen this exact shift take a restaurant from sellable only to another chef to sellable to any qualified buyer with capital and management experience. That difference alone can add real dollars to your price. Third, seasonality. Every restaurant has a rhythm. Some months you're slammed. Some months you're praying for a Tuesday to feel busy. You already know this. You've built your life around it. Buyers price it differently than you do. They don't see our slow season as normal. They see risk. Can this business cover its costs in the months it's not busy? What happens if a slow season runs longer than expected? The businesses that sell well in this space are the ones that can show a buyer exactly how they handle the dip. Steady cash reserves, a slower season menu or promotion that keeps revenue from cratering, staffing that flexes instead of bleeding cash on a slow Tuesday. If you can walk a buyer through 12 months of consistent, explainable performance, highs and lows both, you've turned a risk into a story they can trust. If you're thinking about selling your restaurant in the next year or two, here's where to spend your time. First, deal with the lease. Get clarity and get it early. This alone can make or break your ability to sell it all. Second, get yourself out of the kitchen at least a few shifts a week. Prove the business runs without you standing on the line. Third, document your recipes, your ordering process, and your vendor relationships. The buyer needs to see how the whole operation actually works, not just taste that it works. Fourth, smooth out your numbers. Show 12 months of performance, not just your best quarter. None of this is glamorous. All of it is what separates a restaurant that sells at a fair multiple from one that sits on the market for a year and gets picked apart. Here's the mindset shift. Stop asking, is my food good enough to sell this restaurant? Start asking, would a buyer feel safe running this restaurant without me in it? That's the real question. It's not about talent. It's about transferability. The best restaurant sales I've been part of were never the fanciest concepts. They were the ones where the buyer could picture themselves running it starting Monday morning. If you own a restaurant and you're even thinking about an exit in the next few years, download my free exit readiness guide. It walks through exactly what buyers in this space are looking for and where most restaurant owners are unknowingly losing value right now. Link is below, and if this helped, subscribe. I break down exactly what buyers look for, industry by industry, every week. A buyer isn't buying your kitchen, they're buying whether your kitchen still works when you're not in it.